Hey, what's going on, guys? Cotton here, and I'm checking out the new World War II shooter that just hit Steam. It's called Fog of War. Now, this is made by a small dev team called Monkey Labs, based out of Russia, and the game is up on Steam right now for about $11. The game is set in the eastern fronts of the war, meaning, Germany versus Russia. The battles are 50 on 50 right now, with a really large 10 square kilometer maps that you can spawn into. And now, right from the start, I get a very Red Orchestra 2 feel from this game. I mean, the movement, the aiming dead zones, the bipoding, the cover, all of that, it feels a lot like Red Orchestra. If I had to call this game anything, I'd call it a mix of Red Orchestra and maybe Squad, if you guys have played that, because it has a giant map with these fluctuating capture points, and it really requires a lot of teamwork and communication. Similar to Squad, the squad leaders can unpack their large transport trucks and form a forward operating base or a mobile spawn point. I believe you could also do that in Red Orchestra 2. The squad leaders could make mobile spawn points. And it's really vital to your team's success that you have squad leaders that understand the need to do this and get your men closer to action. There's also vehicles that infantry can use, such as gas jeeps and Kubel wagons, to get you into the battle quicker. But yeah, you really want to emphasize having good squad lead just to get your men to the battle quicker. Now, something interesting about this game is that it has a currency system per battle. Each class you play has a cost to spawn, and you earn those points by, just playing the game, killing enemies, capturing objectives. Some classes cost more than others, such as a semi-auto sniper is more expensive than your standard bolt-action sniper, or how a tank crew would cost more than a standard assault infantry. So I guess you could say it's kind of like Counter-Strike, where you have to manage your earned income to buy your weapons and your gear, and if for some reason you can't afford any of the loadouts, you'll be given a free loadout that's called Cooker. And it's basically a civilian who's been given a bolt-action rifle and been told to just go. You don't have any extra gear, no grenades, no nothing. You just in civilian clothing with a rifle and you go. And now, aside from standard infantry vehicles in the game, there's also things like tanks. There's a towable artillery cannon that you can tow with trucks. There's mortar squads. I even found a horse today while I was live streaming the game. I haven't seen no horses yet, but I found a barn somewhere on the outskirts of the map, and there's actual rideable horses. And I was like, what the hell is this? Now, the tank crews are kind of like in Red Orchestra, how they require an actual crew of people. It's not just one guy doing the driving and the gunning and all that. The tank can fit 3 right now. It can have a driver, a gunner, and a passenger just for transport, or maybe a backup crewman if your gunner dies. Infantry can counterattack these tanks with AT cannons. There's AT rifles, AT throwing grenades. I mean, there's all kinds of, anti-armor and anti-tank items. But the tanks still are pretty tough. And using things like the anti-tank rifles, you're going to try to kill the actual crew inside the tank instead of blowing it up. So you're going to want to aim for the commander hatches and things like that. And now the graphics and the sound of this game, obviously they're not very on par for a 2017 game that's running on the Unreal Engine, but it's another one of those early access nightmares. I'm pretty sure that all of this is placeholder, the graphics, even the sound effects. I actually recognize some of the weapon sounds from the original Medal of Honor Allied Assault game, so it sounds like they tapped into the same sound library, but I could be crazy. When I hear the Mosin Nagant fire in the game, it sounds just like the German Kar 98 from the original Moha. So, I don't know, leave me a comment below, tell me if you maybe hear the same thing or not. I don't really know if I fire any Mosins in this, I think I fire only the car, but you might hear one, who knows. And of course, as with any early access game that's out there, it has its bugs and its glitches and all that nonsense. It's just really the nature of the games now, the nature of gaming development. You know, I mean, the early access thing is good for some small dev teams, you know, helps them get off the ground, get their game going. But then it also gets a bum rap if like the games never get finished or whatever. But again, the game it is early access, so there are going to be bugs. Some of the most notable ones I've found so far are not being able to adjust the in-game volume with the actual like in-game volume sliders. They just don't seem to work. You actually have to adjust your hardware instead. There's a couple other annoying glitches, like if you're driving a vehicle and you get killed, you're kind of stuck in the world looking around as if you're alive, like you're in the vehicle, but you're not actually alive and nobody can see you. So you have to hit the suicide button, which is K, and then that way you can respawn. So if that little bug happens to you, just hit K to respawn. You should be good. Of course, hopefully soon they can patch these kinds of bugs and get further on with the game, but I am interested to see where the development goes. Alright, so I guess you guys are wanting my opinion on the game. And honestly, I like the game, and I feel like it has a lot of potential. You know, the bugs and the lag, that all just comes with early access. It looks like they already fixed their servers. It was honestly a nightmare on launch day. The lag and the desync was so bad, but now on day 2, the servers feel like brand new, and they work just fine. But the game itself has already brought me at least 2 days of just pure fun and excitement. You know, the very large map, it kind of forces a different kind of gameplay. You see people actually being a bit more serious, a bit more strategic and tactical, because dying means a lot more. Not only in travel time to get back to the active combat zones, but also in the cost of your class that you just paid for, and everything like that. So people are actually more weary, and they're more likely to use teamwork, to use their voice comms. You know, it's a really nice atmosphere. So I'm really curious to see where the development of this goes. I mean, hopefully the sky's the limit. And honestly, for only being like $11 on Steam, it's not a bad deal. But, you know, you guys can make up your mind. I'll be streaming this a lot more, doing some videos on it. I'm not telling you to rush out and buy it. I'm just giving my honest opinion. I like the game, but it definitely needs a lot of work. But, you know, we'll see what happens. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this little first look here at Fog of War. I'm going to continue to follow the progression of the game. I'm going to try to stream it, you know, every once in a while. I'm going to try to pop up a YouTube video on it here and there. So I'm definitely going to be keeping up on it. So drop me a sub if you haven't yet, if you want to see more of this. I do a lot of other World War II gaming as well. So drop me a like if you enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys in the next one.